creepy, and strange facts about Disneyland. If you haven't taken a trip to Disneyland, we would urge you to go. It's an amazing place with jolly music, vibrant fairy tale buildings, cartoon characters, and plenty of entertainment. It's the ideal place for a holliers. Despite the exuberant fun and excellent performances from entertainers and more, the Disneyland theme parks have some secrets and weird facts that we were never really aware of. Continue watching this video to know about the 10 creepy facts about Disneyland. All the plants in Tomorrowland are edible. When Tomorrowland was being established, Walt really wanted the land of the future to be maintainable and efficient. Disney decided to implement all edible vegetables and fruits throughout Tomorrowland. How wonderful! Tomorrowland is meant to double as a farm, where humanity makes the most of its resources. The basketball court inside the Matterhorn. According to the Disney Channel show Inside Out, there is a little attic-like space at the top of the Matterhorn that accommodates a small basketball court. There have been rumors as to why this is there. One concept was that Disney wanted to avoid the building height restrictions and add a sports facility to the mountain so it could be higher. In reality, the space wasn't a basketball court in the end, but an area for staff to wait, relax, and lie down before they had to work again in the theme park. A worker did add a basketball to the space, which is how the name came about. Disneyland is a no-fly zone. You should not fly over Disneyland as a pilot, or you'll never hear the end of it. The sole and exclusive motivation for seeking these restrictions is for the safety and enjoyment of our guests, stated Disneyland spokeswoman Leslie Goodman, describing that enjoyment meant everything from keeping out banner ads from trial lawyers to pilots buzzing the parks. No aircrafts are authorized to fly within a 3-mile radius of Disneyland. We never observed this before. Code V is the code for when someone vomits. When someone pukes, management prudently calls for a Code V case. The vomit section is cordoned off while staff take care of the problem. So, if you ever see a group of staff members enclosing an area, you know what the hubbub is all about. There's a ride that ends in hell. Most of the former rides at Disneyland are dark skies, which indicates they are indoor rides that are rarely lit and are meant to make scenes that you ride past. One dark ride, Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, ceased with Mr. Toad from the Wind in the Willows driving into an approaching train and literally arriving in hell. To add to the joyous-filled atmosphere of park guests being dead and surviving eternal damnation, the whole area was even heated. The oddest part of this is that it's not a recreation of any scene from the movie or book version of The Wind in the Willows. Whoever established the ride just felt like adding a section where you got to watch Walt Disney's current resting place. The pet cemetery behind the Haunted Mansion. Next time you go into the Haunted Mansion, take a walk behind it and you'll stagger upon a cemetery where there's even a gravestone for Mr. Toad. The first pet cemetery began in the 1980s with just a few grave statues buried on a small patch of lawn on the side of the queue, out of view of most guests. After a few years, Disney Imagineers discerned there were more ghost stories to tell from mansion's animal inhabitants. Walt Disney Spies. You heard right, Walt Disney employed spies. If you ever visit the firehouse on Main Street in Disneyland, you'll come across the second-floor window. While Walt was occupied in building the park, he created an apartment that overlooked Main Street, which was at the center of where all the action happened. Walt thought of an idea to spy on guests with his family to observe what they were saying about the theme park and assess their reactions from above. After Walt died, the company brass put a candle in the window to remind everyone of Walt's eternal presence. The candle stays there to this day, so it's like he never really left. The underground world beneath Disneyland. Disneyland was established with an incredibly complex, massive underground tunnel system. This system includes tunnels that are named utilidors, meaning corridors, and the picture above is what they appear like. Walt Disney created these underground tunnels so that characters would be able to move easily and away from the public. They are also used for garbage removal. The underground world takes up about 9 acres, and some of the tunnels are so extensive that employees travel by golf cart. The only way to take a look at the underground tunnels is if you get a job at Disneyland. Otherwise, they are utterly restricted and not accessible to the public. Disneyland Paris keeps making people want to kill themselves. Speaking particularly about the Disneyland in Paris, it was allegedly by The Independent and the New York Daily News that a chef who worked at Disneyland Paris committed suicide in 2010. Before he killed himself, the man wrote on his apartment wall, "I don't want to go back to Mickey's house." But the writing was in French. In November 2013, another staff member tried to light themselves on fire, but it ceased just in time. Dead people in Disneyland. For many years now, there was a custom where the beloved people would bring ashes of family members who passed away and would scatter the ashes all over the Haunted Mansion. That is pretty freaky, no? Sadly, the ashes don't stick around for very long as staff members vacuum the whole area every night, leaving the Haunted Mansion dust-free. Another intriguing fact about Disneyland is that in the Pirates of the Caribbean ride, there is a bed that contains actual human bones. As custom has it, pirates used to slumber on the furniture created by your enemies. Gross. The dolls on the Small World ride never stop moving. Disney TikTok The Mouselets recently disclosed that the Small World animatronics never stop moving, like ever. When the music and the lights switch off, the dolls keep on dancing, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So when Disneyland closed in 2020 due to COVID, the dolls continued dancing. Just imagine that. Death on a ride. Although being named the happiest place on Earth, the Disney parks have seen a few misfortunes throughout the years, one of which happened on the now-closed America Sings ride. In 1974, cast member Deborah Stone started to work as a ride operator 2 weeks after the Carousel of Progress became the America Sings attraction. One day, she was captured between the attraction's rotating stages where she met her death. Cast members have asserted for years that they still recall Deborah reminding them to be careful. Pirate George. According to rumors, a welder known as George passed away while working on the Walt Disney World version of Pirates of the Caribbean. Cast members reported that his ghost haunts the ride and creates chaos, shutting down the ride if you don't greet him every morning. So every morning before showtime, a Good Morning George is necessary. The defunct Yeti. There is just something a bit freaky about broken animatronics. At Walt Disney World's Animal Kingdom, the Everest Expedition roller coaster houses a giant and incredibly petrifying Yeti. Back in the day, the Yeti would move and frighten the bejesus out of riders. But today, it's disused, which in some ways is even freakier. Just take a look at it. The Lady in White. Disneyland wasn't always, Disneyland. A folk tells us about the strange Lady in White in turn-of-the-century clothing who died in the early 1900s on the land where Disneyland stands today. She reportedly walks Main Street, coming in and near stores.